Alright, so you've decided to do medicine. Great. Now this was only the initial step, and you have many more steps to come. And one of the major steps is choosing the medical school that you want to go to. Now you'll be spending 5 to 6 years in that medical school, so you want to make sure you get it right. And in this video, I'm going to be going through 6 steps to help you make that decision and choose the perfect medical school for yourself. So let's begin. Okay, so step number 1, choosing the type of course. So there's 2 different type of courses that you can choose from, one being the traditional course and the other being the integrated course. So just going through the traditional course first. So this is where you would have the 2 preclinical years at the start, which will have mainly lectures and seminars, and then you'll have the 3 clinical years to come after, which will be more clinically based, obviously. Now looking at the advantages of these, so this is very much structured. So there's a set curriculum that you follow, especially for the preclinical years, and the learning will be very much guided. So it's quite easy to follow it. Now a major advantage of this is because you've already had the 2 preclinical years before, so when you move into your clinical years, you would already have that background knowledge. So if you were to see a patient, you would know what's going on. Compared with, for example, integrated, where you would be seeing patient on your first week and you may not have a clue on what's going on. Now there are also some drawbacks to the traditional course. You might find lectures boring, you might not be engaged by them, so this might not be for you. Also, because of the late patient contact, you might find the integrated course more useful, as you can apply what you learn in class to the patient, and this might be a better way of learning for you. So moving on to the second type of course, the integrated course. So there's different names given to this, PBL, CBL, EBL, but they generally tend to follow the same style. So what would happen is you would be in a group of about 7 to 8 people, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, and you would be given a case, and as a group you would choose a scribe and a person to lead the group, and you would set yourself learning objectives, and you would research on your own throughout the week, and after 2 weeks you will discuss that case and answer the question, basically whatever the case has asked you to do. And this might be better for you, as you might be more engaged in a group rather than having to listen to a lecture. For this type of course, you are responsible for your own learning. You'll be researching on your own, so you need to be able to work independently. Also, as this is not structured, you might have gaps in your knowledge if you haven't researched something. Also, this requires your whole team to cooperate and work efficiently. If someone in your team doesn't decide to work with you, doesn't decide to do their work, then this could be affecting your learning as well as the whole team's learning. Now there might be little variations in the type of course for a particular university, so make sure that you research them and you are fully aware of them, as that could be a question you're asked in an interview from that medical school. So step number 2, choosing the ideal location for your university. Now you might prefer a campus university where everything's located within that campus and is basically a student city, or you might want a city university where things are distributed around the city. You might like a big lively city, or you might just like a small peaceful town. You might want to move further away from home, or you might be staying at home, so you would want a university which is closer to you, especially if you can't cook like me, or you can just learn how to cook. But what I would recommend is you go to that university for an open day, feel the university. Is that university right for you to stay for 5 to 6 years? Step number 3, university life. Now, other than studying, you would want to be involved in other things of your interest, so you don't burn yourself out. So you might want to have a look at the facilities of the university. You might be interested in the gym, the library. There might be other things of your interest. There might be some sports teams that you would want to be involved with. Also, I would recommend having a look on the societies page on the internet. That could give you a lot of information on what you might be interested in, and that might help you make your decision. Number 4, the cost. Now, the cost of living in one university can vary massively to living in another. For example, just comparing Lancaster University to UCL, you can see the accommodation is almost double in UCL than compared to Lancaster. And you would have to also take into account the cost of food, transport, you might have car insurance, so there might be other things that you have to take into account. So make sure that you can easily afford to live in that university. Number 5, the cohort size. Now again, the cohort size can vary massively between one university and another. So just comparing, for example, Manchester has around 400 students, whereas Lancaster has only around 120. Now for a larger university, larger cohort, you would tend to have more resources, more facilities available, just greater diversity, and more things available overall. For a smaller cohort size, smaller university, there would be stronger bonds and more engagement, and you would get to know your peers better. So you need to work out which one you would prefer. Number 6, the opportunities at the university. Now, some universities may offer something that you really want, or it might be something that you really don't want. So just talking about intercalation. So at some universities that's optional, and if you don't want to do that, then that's good for you. But at some universities, it'll be compulsory to intercalate. For example, Cambridge, Oxford, or Nottingham universities. So if you don't want to intercalate, then you shouldn't apply to them. Also, pro-section, dissection. So pro-section is where you would be given the whole cadaver and you would be asked to dissect that. Or you might want to do dissection where you might be given little parts of the body and you would be dissecting them. Now you might not want to do either of those. So for example, Lancaster has a virtual dissection table and that you may prefer over pro-section or dissection. Now universities also offer specific programs. So for example, Cambridge University has a PhD program after you've graduated. Now you might also want to look at the financial help the universities can offer you. There might be specific bursaries or scholarships that are available to you, and that could be really useful. Okay, the final thing I want to mention is that you may decide upon your perfect medical school, but it might not be a good idea to actually put that down in your UCAS because things may not have gone well along the way. You might have done badly in your UCAT, and it's better to strategically apply and increase your chances of getting into a medical school, because at the end of the day, it's best to have a place in any medical school. So I hope everything goes well, and good luck for the rest of the process.